Hello, hello. Hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bente Moen, and I'm Director of the Global Challenges, one of the priority areas at the University of Bergen. And I have the great pleasure to welcome you to this day, where we will mark and show that we now will have a Bergen School of Global Studies. But the first one to tell about this and what the university thinks is our pro-rector, Margaret Hagen. And we are so happy that you are here, Margaret. So please, the floor is yours, or isn't it?
Velkommen til universitetsaulaen. Welcome to the university aula. Ved evakuering nødutganger gjennom hoveddører bak og sidedør lengst bak i salen. Alle skal gå rolig ned og ut til samlingsplassen foran museet ved Kristi-statuen. In case of an emergency, evacuation exits are in the back and by the farther side door of the room. Everyone has to walk out calmly and gather in front of the museum by the Christi statue. Takk for oppmerksomheten. Thank you for your attention.
And then it's Margaret Hagen, please.
Dear everyone, gathering teaching and research that addresses the huge and large, complex, intertwined challenges the world faces is of vital importance. Bergen School of Global Studies is a timely and strategically important initiative for the University of Bergen. It builds on a long history at UAB of global engagement, and it pulls together resources from a number of disciplines and faculties. It will provide new areas of interdisciplinary collaboration, and most importantly, it will provide a possibility of international students to engage with UIB. Through Bergen School of Global Studies, the students can more easily find relevant programs and subjects, and we can connect master programs to important research groups here at the university and in Bergen in general. Understanding global challenges such as climate change and social inequality requires collaboration between different disciplines. Interdisciplinary education and research collaboration are therefore a key to solve the challenges ahead. Together, programs and courses in Bergen School of Global Studies can make it easier to combine courses at different faculties, and in the long run, it can establish more inter-faculty courses. At the University of Bergen, we have a great diversity and a wide range of subjects. We are also committed to stimulate interdisciplinary collaboration to solve global societal challenges. And as many of you know, we provide SDG-related education, research, and consulting. As part of our strategic work, we will provide our knowledge to meet the UN sustainability goals, and we will deliver new knowledge that prepares society for the new challenges ahead. Our global commitment goes back in history. Throughout the university's history, we have conducted development-related research and education, and we will continue to do so. The University of Bergen will be an institution that takes the world's challenges seriously and contributes to good solutions. Taking care of our traditions and history and managing it in the future is part of our work for a sustainable society. And it is gratifying that the Bergen School of Global Studies brings together different academic environments and faculties. It offers relevant master education in inequality, migration, health and climate change, and governance. Disciplines that are central on the global area, and disciplines where Bergen has a strong field within education and research. The teaching takes place at all of our 7 faculties. And I must say that this is really a great initiative to meet challenges that we sometimes face in academia, the lack of inter- and transdisciplinarity and also multidisciplinary collaboration. At the same time, I would like to emphasize that this is also a good way to gather resources, both professionally and financially. The University of Bergen has, as you know, 3 strategic focus areas: marine research, climate and energy transition, and global societal challenges. Within these areas, we will utilize and develop the university's unique opportunities for professional mobilization, specialization, and collaboration across subject boundaries. And I am very pleased that those of you who are responsible for global societal challenges are embarking on the Bergen School of Global Studies as part of our strategic commitment. The vision for the Bergen School of Global Studies is, if you are interested in global societal challenges, then you come to Bergen. Congratulations on the opening of Bergen School of Global Challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret Hagen. The support from you and the leadership at the University of Bergen is extremely important to us. Without that, I don't think we will be ever able to make some impact of our work. I was asked to tell about the background for the Bergen School, and I will do that with pleasure. Personally, I've been working at the University of Bergen for about 25 years, and I have experienced all these years that scientific personnel have discussed the difficulties related to cooperation across faculties, especially when it comes to teaching. It's not always easy. And you can, for instance, get a good example from students who can tell you that, okay, it's good that we can participate in teaching at other faculties, but when all the courses are run at the same time, that is not so easy. So some coordination of this might be a very good idea. That is just an example of things we have to organize differently. In about 2017, we started to work with the priority area of global challenges at the University of Bergen. And we established an interfaculty strategy group, a leader group. And we immediately started to investigate the possibilities of new approaches when it comes to the education. And we discussed in particular master level education. And the working group on cross-disciplinary education were given the task in 2019 to map the existing relevant courses and programs at the University of Bergen, as well as on national level. And the purpose was to examine the different paths we could follow. Should we make a new master degree in global challenges? Should we have a joint coordination of the courses? Some topics, which topics? How could the University of Bergen become the best university for students with a global interest, like Margaret Hagen mentioned? How can we become the best one to be the university that everyone goes to if they want to study global studies? This first working group was led by Professor Haldis Haukanes from the Faculty of Psychology. And in addition, we had a number of other participants. And actually, there were quite a number of people who participated in discussions, either in the main group or in special meetings. But even so, I mention a few of these people because I think they have been working more than the others. So a special thank you to Astrid Blystad, Ståle Knudsen, Cecilie Ødegaard, Margaret Daniel, Ragnhild Overå, Karen Marie Moland, Tore Setersdal, Tord Røe, and students we also had, Therese Aarhus and Johan Elfving. Together, these people made a report which was called Towards a School of Global Studies. Thank you so much. It was a very important work for us. And we found out very soon that, okay, let's start. Let's have a school of global studies. And to start such an idea, we needed a leader of this activity. We needed someone who can gather people to find a way to cooperate. And we were very lucky that we found out that Professor Siri Gloppen, she agreed to start up this work. Thank you so much. It's also very, very important, of course. And we also figured out that she needed a substitute leader, and that will be Lise Rakner. So a special thank also to you. You know, the reason why we do all these things is that the world is today facing many challenges addressed by the United Nations Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, the problems we are facing in areas such as climate change, migration, global inequality, cut across traditional knowledge boundaries and systems. We find that there is a need to open knowledge systems, to open them really, and increase interdisciplinary cooperation in research and education. And we hope that this will become more a reality at the University of Bergen by establishing the Bergen School of Global Studies. We'll see what happens, but first I would like Haldis and Siri to come up here and get the flowers that they actually very much deserve. Thank you for being pioneers in interfaculty education. First, Haldis. Here she is. Thank you very much.
So much.
And then, for you. And I wish you really all the luck. And thank you for the enthusiasm you both have shown related to the work which has been done and the coming work. We will look forward to see the results. Thank you.
So I want to, first of all, thank Margaret and Bente for the introductions and words of welcome, and also to thank all of you for joining us today. It's so exciting to finally be able to welcome you. We tried in September, and now we were afraid that we wouldn't even be able to do so today. But on behalf of Lise and myself, I would like to sincerely welcome us all. And I would like to, in particular, give a special welcome to Lars Varsson. And the reason is that many of you probably don't know, but that together with then Director of CMI, Gunnar Sørbe, Lasse, they planned and went quite far in recommending the opening of a School of Global Studies in Bergen. That time, Bergen wasn't ready. The University of Bergen wasn't ready for the initiative, but Lisa and I were very much convinced. So when we were given the opportunity to lead the current initiative, we were more than ready, because this is something that we had really felt for a long time was needed, Bergen needed it, and that there is a lot of potential in doing something like that. So thank you. Let me see if I can. So, as Bente was saying, the Bergen School of Global Studies is developed as part of the Global Challenges strategic area. And it also builds on a long-standing experience of the Bergen Summer Research School, and we also have Kjersti and Ovaida from the Bergen Summer Research School, some of the founding mothers, which is also a very, very important initiative in global challenges, education in Bergen. And this has given us a lot of perspectives and ways directing, and this is also belongs to the Global Challenges strategic area, so we will be sort of sister schools and initiatives in the global challenges. The vision of the Bergen School of Global Studies is, as Margaret was saying, to make studying in Bergen even more attractive and worthwhile for students who seek knowledge and skills that can enable them to contribute towards solving global challenges. Or, as inspired by the vision of this year's Bergen Summer Research School and the Center for Climate and Energy Transformation, the slogan can be actionable knowledge on global challenges in Bergen. Because that is really what we're aiming for. It is a graduate school, in the sense that it is mainly focusing on master's level programs and courses, but also PhD level and elevator courses that both PhD and master's students can take. And it is focusing on global challenges and in the English language. So in this sense, it is both something that stands alone, but that also complements the School of Bergen Summer Research School during the year, with the focus on PhD students. And when establishing the School of the Bergen School of Global Studies, it was important that this is an open door policy. So all relevant courses, but also other initiatives focusing on global challenges, are invited to be part. And that has been a bit of a struggle in these weeks and months, that there is so much going on that it's almost impossible, and new things are forming. So then people are saying, what about us? What about this? Have you forgotten me? And that's great. So continue to do so. And you will see some of it today, and there'll be a lot more in the time to come. But it is master PhD courses and programs, but also research centers and initiatives. Particularly at master and PhD level, the connection between research and teaching is really important. And there are many research initiatives and centers in Bergen also focusing on these areas, as we will see, and other initiatives. And we also hope that this will be not only UIB, but also and increasingly beyond. Step one, which is what we do now, is to showcase and guide. That's the first step that we're doing. And we're aiming to showcase to and guide UIB students as well as exchange students. And we want to guide them to the wide variety of English language courses and programs offered, and making it easier to navigate and combine from across departments and faculties. In step two, we aim to do more in terms of facilitation, making it easier to make cross-faculty courses and programs, aligning schedules, but also promoting development of new courses in different ways. And the aim is not to establish so much something new as such, but to lift and support and facilitate what we already have. And what we hope is that many of us will use the Bergen School of Global Studies to make the most of what we already have, because we have a lot of separate initiatives. Often we don't even know about each other, but if we do that, if we combine, we can be better together. And we already have a lot. And as part of what we're doing now, we're sorting and arranging courses and programs and initiatives according to 5 thematic areas that are central to the strategy of the University of Bergen: inequality, migration, health, climate, governance, and also research methods. So if you come and you're interested in one of these areas, you can go into one of these overlapping circles and you will find something like, let me see, for instance this, if you go into inequality, this is part of what you will find. So you will find that there is a master's program that is relevant for you, at least one. You will find, which we'll hear more about later, on global development theory and practice. There are a lot of courses, I've only mentioned a few. There are several research centers that are relevant for you. So, for instance, let me see, GRIP, the Global Research Program on Inequality, which was established last year in collaboration with the University of Bergen and the International Science Council, focusing on multidimensional poverty and different ways of addressing this from above and below to create new paths towards more equal societies. And GRIP will also take a role in trying to develop research and teaching within this area. But we also have, in focusing on inequalities, the Center for Women and Gender Research, which focuses particularly on gender-related inequalities. And they also have, they have an annual master and PhD relay where master and PhD students can engage and get feedback, and also have PhD courses, and possibly also master course level courses, building on what they already have. If you go into the link on migration, you will also see that there is, that we don't have a program there yet, not a master's program, but there are courses in many different faculties. So you wouldn't necessarily know about this if you just know that you're interested in migration, but there is a lot already there. And we have a very important center as well, IMAL, International Migration and Ethnic Relations, which has an important role in bridging research from the different faculties at UIB, but also Kristian Mikkelsen Institute and also NORS. So there is a network that students can be part of and engaging, and they can also take courses. So we already have a lot in this area on migration. Health, that's maybe something that many people will, global health is something that many will associate with Bergen. We've long had the Center for International Health, which has an important profile. There's a master's program on global health. There are also lots of different courses, and we'll see some of this also later today. The Center for International Health is important because that's very closely associated with the global challenges, because the director, Bente Moen, is also head of global challenges. There's a lot of this was not supposed to be question marks. I don't know what happened with the with the slides, but it was supposed to be arrows. But forgive me. We also have, if you go into the bubble or the overlapping bubble on Bergen School of Global on climate and natural resources, you will find that there is a master's program there are different master's programs actually, but one is on geographies of sustainable development, but there are also others, and we'll see that later. Lots and lots of courses, and there are interesting initiatives, including Center on Climate and Energy Transformation, which you will have a bit hear more about, Collaboratoria, which you will also hear more about, and Bærekraftskollegiet. So many exciting and interesting initiatives happening in this field. This is just a slide for a set, and the director, Håvard Håstad, will be back and say more. We also have, all of these, so health, migration, inequality, and climate and energy transformation are focus areas for global challenges in Bergen, in the strategy of the university. Governance is not a separate focus area as such. But of course, governance in all of these areas are really important. So that is why this, if you remember, this is an overlapping circle that is not separate but goes across the others. And we have two different programs the master programs that address this. So one is in public administration, and the other one is in system dynamics, and we'll hear from both of them. And there are lots of courses that are relevant to this in many different faculties, law, social sciences in particular. And one of the research centers that is relevant here is the one that I'm heading, which is called Law Transform, which is a global center with mainly teaching, collaboration, but also a lot of engagement in education, and a lot of activities with volunteers and interns. Lastly, I know it was not part of the circle, but it was on the slide. We need really to address methods, issue of methods. How can we better assess progress, what works, effects in all of these areas? And of course, a lot of this is specific to the different fields, but we also need to have ways of communicating around research methods. And there is a new initiative that is the Development Learning Lab, which is an initiative between CMI, NHH, and UIB that aims to do this. It's still in its infancy, but we hope that that can also be an important hub in the School of Global Studies. So, all of this and more, and you will come back to it, you'll hear from many of the courses and programs, but it is a lot. So, which is why we think it is worthwhile showing it more. And if you come as a student, what we want to do, the Bergen School of Global Studies to be, is to start by being a pathfinder, helping you to find your way, but then also moving towards a trailblazer, doing it better, doing it more, collaborating on new forms of teaching, collaborating new forms of learning, and more interdisciplinary work. And we also want it to be a home for students who are interested in this, to be a place where people can engage physically also with others who are interested in similar areas. And so we plan to have weekly or bi-weekly events at Bergen Global for this group. If you're a faculty interested in this, we want the Bergen School of Global Studies to be stimulating interdisciplinary and experiential courses and programs. So we want to have courses that we want to use the different mechanisms we have to try and create resources for this. So if you're a Global Challenges PhD, if you apply for a Global Challenges PhD, you should also plan for using the resources into development of courses. So that this can be a way for students to engage and also give input. And we would like to develop a menu. So these are question marks, because we don't know if we're going to get there and how soon we're going to get there and if this is the form. But these are some of the things that we would like to see. Possibilities for getting affiliate positions or guest lecturers if you want to develop new exciting courses, or teaching assistants, or funds that you need for social events, excursions, or new pedagogical forms. So this is something that we aim and hope to develop. We also, if you're faculty, what you need from the Global School is to reduce structural barriers and disincentives. We still have a lot of disincentives and barriers for collaboration and growth. Work on how can we overcome this, and also to be a bit of a sort of intellectual home. We already have a new structure, Bærekraftskollegiet, focusing more on particularly the sustainability part of the education. But we also want to develop this maybe into a broader faculty for people who are engaged in the Global School to think about how we can take it forward. So this is the team. It's Lisa and me who are co-directing, and we have the Global Challenges Strategic Group, who are the owners and initiators and who will provide guidance. Also support from the Global Challenges Administration, Kamilisa and Anya. And then we also hope to be more joined by the Global Challenges PhD candidates. And the home is in Bergen Global in Hjerteviksbakken. So this is how far we've come. And I'm really, I must say that the wealth is a lot bigger than I thought when I took over. The assets are really, there's a lot of assets. So this is going to be a very interesting journey. So thanks a lot. We will, yes, so thank you. The next part of the program follows on this one. Because what we're going to do now is that we're going to hear from many of these, the slides, many of the courses and programs were on these slides. And we will have actually, I think we will have 12 presentations. And I would like to invite the first 6 presenters to come up and sit on these chairs. And then I don't know, and then they will just sit there, and then when they are presenting, they will come and stand by the microphone. So Haldis Aukernes, who you already met, Henriette Sindingåsen, Marianne Carlsen, Itzhak Shamil, Torkil Tylleskjær, and Astrid. Oh ja, en Ragnhild Overå. Okay. So, please, you can stand. Yes, you just go and stand.
I'm really happy to see this happening. I think I will have to touch this microphone to make it my level. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about our program in Global Development Theory and Practice, the GLODE program, as we call it. It was established back in 2016. It's a relatively new program, and it has 2 specializations. So if I can have the next slide. It has 1 specialization in gender, in global development, and another specialization in health promotion. It's an international program. We have both Norwegian and international students. And today I'm going to highlight something in our program which, in addition to all the other good things we do, we deal with all the big problems, I think, on Earth, we have practice-oriented elements, and these are the ones that I'm going to elevate today. Can I have the next slide? So practice orientation in our program is evident in 3 areas. First, throughout the program, we put a stress on student active learning. So we use PBL, problem-based learning, we use student-led lectures, and things like that. And second, we have a course in which students take in the 2nd term called Development Practice, where students, in addition to having lectures on relevant topics, also work with organizations such as the Red Cross and Framtiden I våre hender, and organizations like that. And they carry out tasks for the organization. They do a small survey, they interview participants in projects that the organizations are involved in, etc. And finally, students have the opportunity to choose to do an internship the 3rd semester. So it's a 30-credit course in an internship. So if I can have the next slide. And here you can see some of the internship placements that we have had. I mean, some of the places that students have been placed. And as you can see, we have both research institutions, governmental organizations, and non-governmental organizations represented. And this is just a small selection. And next slide, please. I want to give the word to Grecia Garcia Silva. She is one of our international students. She is currently doing an internship with the Norwegian Church Aid on a gender-based violence project. And please, if you can click on Grecia.
Hello, my name is Grecia. I'm an international student at UIB. I am from Mexico, and currently I am doing an internship at Norwegian Church Aid here in Oslo. I decided to do the internship because I really wanted to get some experience working with international organizations, and I think Norwegian Church Aid was a perfect opportunity because they are really huge organizations with different projects around the world. So you actually get to gain experience regarding these kind of development projects that they're working on. And it's been a really great experience. I get to meet people that actually work in development issues, and it's really helping me to gain experience and also to make new contacts and to build network for further development of professional development. And it's been a really great experience to have this apply some of my knowledge, previous knowledge that I gained in the program, in the classes with my specialty is gender. So it's really good because I have the opportunity to apply those knowledge in the project that I've been working on at NCA. So I would totally recommend, if you have the idea of doing an internship, to do it. And I think it will be really important if you want to keep working on these kind of development projects around the world. I think this one gives you a lot of experience, and I will totally encourage you to do that. Perfect.
Thank you. My name is Henriette Sinding Aasen. I am from the law faculty, and I will talk a little bit about a very important global structure, the human rights framework. I actually coordinate and teach two courses, one called Health and Human Rights in the Welfare State, and the other is called Human Rights and Welfare Policies. And both courses address health, migration, social inequality. Actually, human rights norms form an important structure of international relations, and they are essential tools to address global challenges related to health, migration, and social inequality. And so, for example, access to adequate healthcare services, public health measures, and other welfare services are urgent for all human beings everywhere. And different human rights instruments, for example, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, ratified by almost every state in the world except from the United States, and one more. This instrument, in fact, responds to basic human needs and obligate states to take appropriate steps, depending on the context in different countries, to respect, protect, and fulfill health and other welfare needs of people within their own jurisdiction. And a very important aspect of the human rights framework in all covenants is the non-discrimination principle. It's a key human rights principle. It is essential to address policies contributing to exclusion, marginalization, and also inequalities. So these courses focus on notions of universality, like we have global instruments, but also on the relevance of different contexts, relativity, state obligations, accountability, and governance principles, and all the aspects and relationships between different kinds of rights. A very important aspect of the courses is to strengthen the students' ability to critically analyze and evaluate domestic national policies in light of the global human rights norms and the requirements of states. So to stimulate critical analysis, I would say is perhaps the most important aspect of the courses. Students actually come from everywhere, all over the world, to take as exchange students. Every semester, lots of students take these courses and they learn about international human rights norms, obligating the states to protect human health and health determinants, and also the state's obligations to pay particular attention to vulnerable groups in society, not to discriminate, and to develop policies and services based on different needs, such as due to gender, migration, age, disability. So students are trained to analyze human rights challenges in their own countries, providing them with the knowledge and skills to use the human rights framework effectively. And actually, I think the most interesting parts of the courses is that they have to write their own paper. They can choose their own topic that they see fit relevant for their own interests, and also the needs that they see, for example, in their own countries. So that's also part of the courses, to stimulate critical analysis and train students to articulate the challenges, and to try also to see what kind of solutions the states can offer, and how states can also collaborate to solve some of the issues. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marianne Carlsen, and I'm the current leader of Eimer Bergen. The main aim of Eimer Bergen is to contribute to research-based knowledge about international migration and ethnic relations. For 25 years, Eimer Bergen has offered a dynamic and supportive migration research environment, and has been an important contributor to making visible nationally and internationally the Eimer-related research that has been carried out by scholars in Bergen. Today, Eimer Bergen is an interdisciplinary research network that includes scholars at different departments, faculties, and institutions, including, in addition to the University of Bergen, also Christian Michelsen's Institute and NORS. Our work focuses primarily on disseminating research on Eimer-related topics, and to create meeting places for scholars working on these topics, through, amongst other, our newsletter and monthly lunch seminars. These seminars, which are open to all, provides locally based researchers and visiting scholars a space to present and discuss current Eimer research. We further facilitate and assist research project development and applications, and scholars in the Eimer network have been very active in raising external funding for research. There are several interdisciplinary research projects currently ongoing that have been developed within the Eimer network. These cover a range of topics and geographical contexts, including the effects of changes within global and European asylum and refugee law and policies, the majority population's opinions about immigration in Norway, the temporalities of irregularized migration and protracted displacement, and the policy of camps and containment in the Middle East. Although Eimer Bergen does not currently offer any master-level course or program, we seek to facilitate the development of courses on migration and ethnic relations at different levels. We have also at times organized master and PhD relays in which students are invited to present their projects and get feedback from Eimer-affiliated scholars. In particular, Eimer Bergen provides a strong and creative scholarly environment for PhD candidates through our Junior Scholar Network. The Junior Scholar Network provides young scholars with support in the research process and in navigating the world of academia. Through its weekly meetings, seminars, and conferences, it also provides a platform for PhD candidates working on Eimer-related topics to share knowledge and experiences accumulated across a variety of disciplines and backgrounds. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ishtiaq Jamil, and I come from the Department of Administration and Organization Theory under the Social Science faculty. A great privilege to be here, and thanks for inviting me. We have, since 1994, I've been arranging a master program, which is called Master in Public Administration, especially aimed at students from the Global South, but we have also had students from different parts of the world. But nowadays, because of the end of different types of scholarships, our students from the Global South are facing economic hardships. Of course, I'm not going to go deeper into that. But we do have recruitment every year, and we have managed to continue our intake since we started in 1994. Well, the program is divided into course and thesis. The first year is dedicated to 6 different courses, and the second year is dedicated to master thesis writing. So in the first semester, we have 3 courses, which is organization theory, public policy, and research methodology, focusing on the qualitative aspect. In the second semester, we teach the quantitative research methodology, the research design, and then the students can choose one of the 4 optional courses. And our department is divided into 4 research groups, and these 4 research groups organize these different optional courses. And our group, which is called Globalization and Development, we organize a course called Leadership in Organizational and Cultural Contexts. So we have both lectures and seminars in most of these courses. One of the slides which was shown, it was that the governance is kind of the core issue, and then there are different areas that the governance is focusing, the migration or the inequality or the poverty. So we focus mainly on governance and policy aspects, and our students write on different issues of governance when it comes to their home countries, especially those who are coming from the south. So we have had so far more than 250 graduates from our from this program, and one thing is, which is very positive, that 20%, which I have calculated in a way unofficially, that 20% of our students, they have managed to finish or are in the PhD courses. So that's a good sign that this program has been able to contribute to further education of students from the Global South. We have actually 2 master's programs, one in Norwegian and the other is English, but now we are trying to merge these 2 groups together so that we can have all the lectures in English. Of course, the language issue is quite prominent in the department, but nowadays, because many of our new staff are non-Norwegian, we have a non-Norwegian background, so it's now kind of this issue of language is no more so prominent in the department. So that's a good sign that we could combine these Norwegian and foreign students, so that gives a kind of a sense of integration for the foreign students, those who come to Norway and feel that they feel at home in Norway. Right, about about the master thesis, we have in the first semester, before when there are different scholarship programs, students got money, for traveling and collect data, but these kind of provisions are no more there. So students are struggling with, getting funding for their data collection, but despite that, they're very innovative and they're trying different sources to collect data. So after the finish of the end of the first year, they go for data collection. Some manage to go to their respective home countries and collect data, some through online data collection, they use it. So the third semester is dedicated to we organize dissertation seminars, that is students come and present thesis chapters, not the research proposal, but the thesis chapters, how they should look like in the real thesis. And that's in a kind of pushing the students to write the thesis. And this has proven to be quite successful because at the end of the 4th semester, most of our students, they managed to submit their thesis. Before, we had students from other faculties, especially the course on public policy, and also the course on leadership in organization and cultural context. We have students from other faculties, from the medical faculty, Center for International Health. But nowadays, we don't see these students joining our programs because because maybe there's a lack of, is a kind of problem of timing. The other could be that this credit production follows the money. So since departments lose some money or whatever it is, that we don't have these students anymore. But there is, of course, there's scope for cooperation between different departments. And so we expect that we would like to have students from other faculties and so that we could collaborate on that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, so here at the Center for International Health, we have master students in global health. Right now, they're playing a game where they're trying to set up an ideal health system that could cater for all the patient's needs.
Let's start allocating and then we can decide.
Yes, we will decide. Okay. So let's start from the capital again.
We can do one. But I think the health, it's very good to have a lot of health.
We have to manage that one also.
So we have had it like for 2 hours now. We removed it like 5 times. Yeah, we have.
But you have concluded.
No.
But adding this is also helping just one village, as per you say. So it's going to help this village. We can't provide everyone.
Why would people get insurance? Everything is free anyway.
Yeah, they already have. In the second run, they get a bunch of patients to run through the system and see how well the system actually accommodates the needs. In the last part, we have now many different systems. We can compare the different systems and we can see what works well and what is not so good idea.
Yeah, so this is at the Center for International Health. We are running this master course in global health, and one of the courses is called SDG 303, with focus on the health for all sustainable development goal. But of course, we always emphasize that this cannot be achieved without the other goals being achieved at the same time. Thank you.
Yes, hello, my name is Ragnhild Overå. I am leading the master's program, Geographies of Sustainable Development at the Department of Geography at the Social Science faculty. Yeah. So the geography take on global challenges is very much about the relationship with society and environment. That's in essence what our discipline is all about. And we focus a lot on society-environment relations and also conflicts in those relations and how they play out at different geographical scales. So we have, in our courses, we teach on critical analysis of discourses on global environmental challenges and policies, where win-win solutions to environmental problems are often presented, but there are always traders and winners and losers and so on. So we are focusing a lot on power, inequality, and the power of definition of the environmental problems, and what sustainability should be all about. Så du kan ta en trykke en gang til. Yeah, so in fact, all the dilemmas in and conflicts that can be involved in making priorities between the goals and how they can actually be in conflict with each other. If you want to achieve one thing, there is a trade-off, and you may not achieve the other. So such problematization of discourses around environmental solutions, we scrutinize. With topics such as green transition, greenwashing, green grabbing. We focus on global food systems, food security, and problems related to that. So the courses offered in our program are these, and I would like to say that the students who are part of the MA program in Geographies of Sustainable Development, they are in the same group as those who do the normal geography masters as well. So they are integrated is an integrated group. So they start in the autumn doing theory of science and a writing course where they start in the developing their master project quite soon. In the autumn semester when they start. And they present this as a project proposal around Christmas time. And they do a theory of sustainable land use course in the autumn. Then the spring comes where they do a methods course. And then we have the course on discourses, politics, and people, critical perspectives on environmental governance. This is just what I talked about. Learning how to analyze discourses, learning about myths and narratives regarding everything from deforestation to overfishing to urban planning, etc., climate change. And the student can elect one of the two next courses. Either the geographies of the green economy, how do concept of the green economy affect various processes in society and the environment. And then we have one for the more technically oriented students or who are interested in geographical information systems, which is a very useful tool that one can learn about in geography, practical skills in remote sensing and spatial analysis. So the next slide. So this was, I would just like to put up these slides in the end to stress the fieldwork aspect of studying geographies of sustainable development. These pictures are from the fieldworks that our students have presented in our webpage from their fieldworks, and they go for maybe 2 or 3 months fieldwork somewhere in the world, and dip their hands into the dirty soil, so to speak. So the fieldwork and collecting empirical data in the field is very important in this program. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you very much, Haldis and Henriette and Marie and Itzhak and Torkel and Ragnhild. We will have another group coming up where we need to do some small things in between, but I think this really shows how courses and initiatives from different faculties complement each other. The second group, who will be coming now, continue where Ragnhild started. These are all initiatives and courses and programs focusing on sustainability. The first, in different ways. The first is Eileen Moxness. Håvard Hårstad will come. Ronja Reitan Salberg will come, and she will, when she presents, she will be joined by Jakob Grandin, and he will come up later. Kerim Nisangru, Inger Elisabeth Morin, and Katja Enberg. And I forgot to tell the other group, but there is a timer that will count down so that you can keep track of time. It's very difficult when we speak to keep track, but we're not too bad on time. So please start.
My name is Eileen Moxness from the System Group at the Institute of Geography. Before we show a video, I would like to quote our rector, Dag Rune Olsen. Systems thinking and holistic understanding is the foundation for sustainable development. Our scientific practice and way of thinking must be adapted to the complex nature of problems in order to develop relevant knowledge. And there are reasons to ask if today's education, the way we work, and the methods we use in our research is sufficient to give the needed holistic understanding. The Systemdynamics Master Program provides the problem-oriented interdisciplinary methodology of the type that our rector calls for. The video gives a glimpse of what we do. My name is Eileen Moxness, and I represent the Systemdynamics Group at the Department of Geography. Local societies have lived sustainably over thousands of years. Local myths, cultures, and traditions reflect a deep understanding and love of the niche they occupy. In a globalized world, the entire globe is our niche. This begs the question, do we as a species possess the consciousness that this requires? Now the UN, EU, and OECD ask for systems thinking to deal with the complexities that globalization entails. Systemdynamics goes beyond systems phrases like everything is connected to everything. Let me illustrate. In the early 1950s, local reindeer hunters warned about declining lichen pastures in the Snøhetta reindeer district. Regulating hunting from a long distance, the Department of Agriculture ignored ongoing warnings for 10 years. A collapse of both lichen and reindeer resulted. Nobody had as their goal to deplete lichen. Stakeholders understood that lichen must be protected. However, to protect the lichen, the regulators relied on a wait-and-see strategy. To test this hypothesis, we replicated the marked 15-year collapse scenario in a laboratory experiment. With hardly any exceptions, both students and reindeer herders chose a wait-and-see strategy. Systemdynamics provides students with a tool to illustrate system interactions, with a much-needed distinction between accumulation and instantaneous cause and effect relationships. This diagram illustrates that with a wait-and-see strategy, the number of reindeer will grow much too high, causing grazing to exceed the net growth by a wide margin. When lichen is first seen to be below a minimum level, a huge and unacceptable reduction in reindeer is needed. To understand developments over time properly, we simulate. Nearly the same model explains overfishing and climate change, again supported by laboratory experiments. Here you see what our program contributes to, analysis of change, policy analysis, interdisciplinary, stakeholders, learning, sustainable development goals, and different projects with the environmental groups and governments. Courses in English. Here's a list of the courses that you can get from me or from the organizers. Thank you.
My name is Håvard Horstad. I'm the director of the Center for Climate and Energy Transformation. We are an interdisciplinary research center based at the Faculty of Social Science, but combining researchers and projects and initiatives across the university, and also with Norse and the Norwegian School of Economics. So what we're focused on is how to achieve deep, rapid, and sustainable transformation of society. We need to transform quickly, and that's not easy. It involves very difficult questions that involve all the different topics that are covered by the Bergen School of Global Studies. So I'm really happy that this initiative is off the ground. I think what's really important about this initiative is that it ties together lots of different initiatives and groups and projects across the university that we meet in different settings like this, but that we don't really collaborate enough with, especially around teaching. So I think this is a great potential in this initiative, and I want to congratulate you on today's launch. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Ronja, and this is Jakob, and we're here from the Collaboratory, from the Faculty of Social Sciences. The Collaboratory is a platform for student-led collaboration around global issues in partnership with researchers. The goal is to create new forms of learning that can respond to the challenges of our times, and in the same time rupture with the social structures from which the challenges originate and are being reproduced within our institutions, like our universities. By putting the students in the driver's seat in defining and leading academic activities, the outcome of formal and informal education through interaction with the content and the form of the education will be more appropriate to meet global challenges. Yes, next one, please. So how do we do it? Bergen International Student Conference is a yearly conference by, for, and with students. It involves more than 100 participants, 15 to 20 volunteers, also students, and 2 student coordinators. Set 201, Sustainable Innovation, is a student-led 10-credit course, which is really cool. It involves about 30 students working with real-life sustainability challenge cases from Bergen. And it also is also led by 2 student coordinators in close collaboration with the researchers.
Great. So I think one thing that's also quite important to us in the Collaboratory is kind of working through international partnerships. And we have 2 key things that we're working on right now: the Arcus Network, where we're part in developing a challenge-based learning program, the Arcus Collaboratory program, together with the center SVT here at the University of Bergen and 6 other universities across Europe. And we're also part in a Erasmus Plus strategic partnership, Interactional, where we try to build on our experiences in the student-led course in sustainable innovation here in Bergen and see how those ideas can also be shared in Lyon and in Vilnius. So that's kind of cool. So now we have actually employed student coordinators also in Vilnius and in Lyon. And at the same time, they can also provoke us and they can give us some critical feedback on how we're doing and how we can also improve our processes here. So I think these could also be interesting building blocks for the school in creating an international dimension. Could I have the next slide? We just wanted to show this, to show how many different roles we have when we work with these issues. We have, of course, student coordinators, we have faculty, we have the different participants, we have an international network, and I think the key here is to bring all these different people together in partnership and in collaborative learning. And the final thing I just need to say is that at the moment we're hiring people. So we have 5 student coordinator positions out, and we know that you're the people here have contact with kind of the best students at the university, so please send them our way so we can really create this and build this into an interdisciplinary platform.
Did you ever wonder what drives the climate system? Or did you ever wonder why there's such a large contrast in climate between our location here on the west coast of Norway compared to southern Greenland, which are all at the same latitude? My name is Kerim Hesnes Nisanjolo. I'm a professor at the Department of Earth Science at the University of Bergen. Here in Bergen, it's not uncommon that it rains up to 3 meters in 1 year. This is because of the frequent storms coming off the ocean and hitting the mountains surrounding our beautiful city. It is therefore no surprise that modern metrology was developed here in Bergen. In this course, we will try to answer many of the key questions relating to the dynamics of the climate system and what drives it. We will also take you on a brief tour of past changes in climate and their causes, as well as discuss the implications of man-made emissions of greenhouse gases.
My energy source today is this sandwich.
Together with Professor Asgeir Sorteberg, we'll be guiding you through 6 lectures, including interactive problem sets and background reading. Along the way, we will visit heavy snowfall in the mountains surrounding Bergen, as well as calving glaciers on the coast of Greenland. On behalf of the University of Bergen, I hope you'll find this course both stimulating, challenging, and fun.
A little bit of an advertisement. It's the SDG, what's become now SDG 213, which is a course on now causes, consequences and solutions of climate change. So it's much more than what started here more than 5 years ago. It was actually our dean, Dag Rune, when he wasn't a dean, he was a faculty dean, said, why don't we do an online course, because we need an online course. And me and Asgeir said, okay, we'll do it, why not? And maybe we regretted it, but we spent half a year, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and had fun. We visited all these places and made an online course. Now that's common, right? We all do this in our studio, in our attic every day, all semester. We had professional help. That's been there for 5 years, thousands of students around the world. You can sit in Nairobi or you can sit in Namsos, it doesn't matter, you can do our course. What we're doing now is that we're expanding this, and it's been run over the last 2 years, where it's focusing more on the broader topic of sustainable development. So our goal is to end poverty for all while upholding a clean and sustainable climate, right? A green climate. And so this is a challenge, and these things are all integrated, and how to give the students an idea of this. First, to understand how the climate system works, then how does our actions impact the climate, and then thirdly, how do you go to the solution? It's a very integrated course that integrates many different disciplines, and even between the two institutes, geovitenskap and geophysics, we had a really hard time getting this to work. So I'm really looking forward to the opportunity now, through some integrated cross-faculty efforts, to be able to do this, as this is the future of our educational system. We need to integrate the different disciplines. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Inger Elisabeth Moren. I'm an associate professor at the Department of Biological Sciences, and I'm also a UNESCO chair here at the University of Bergen. And thank you very much, Siri, for this invitation. And Katja Enberg, that's going to present next, and I, in collaboration, we developed these 2 different courses, SDG 215 and SDG 214, and that's dealing with life below water and life on land. And I will present this course, SDG 215. So we have kind of this big world, small planet sort of situation, where we're quite small, so that's why hence big world, but we're globalized and we are more connected than ever, hence smaller and smaller planet. So we have the guiding lights that we all try to follow, the SDG agenda with the 17 goals. And you can see the pin that a lot of people wear. We all have it, I think. And where all the 17 SDGs are kind of nicely organized around one ring, equally big and everything. But Stockholm Resilience Center also has this kind of wedding cake arrangement of the SDGs. And we can see here that the biosphere SDGs at the bottom, SDG 6, 13, 14, and 15, are quite essential for all the other SDGs to sustain the whole system of this agenda. So that's why we think these courses are particularly interesting also for our education here at UIB, because they're super important. Nature is underpinning everything. And in the SDG agenda, it's kind of I think it's these 2, at least 14 and 15, are kind of put on in hindsight more than integrated into the whole agenda from the start. So next, please. So I teach this, SDG 215. It's 10 credits, and it's cross-disciplinary, and it has students from all kinds of faculties. Next, please. And you can see this is just all the targets for SDG 15, just underlining the importance of this SDG in connection with all the other SDGs. And this is quite important to stress that it's very interconnected, deeply interconnected to all the other SDGs, and we go into that, of course, in this course. Next, please. And then we see that this is a cross-faculty course. Everybody can sign up for it. It's taught in English, and we have approximately 50% international students, which is really good. They're really proactive, and they make the classes a lot more engaged. So we're really glad that we have this contribution from the international students on this course. And it's active learning. We have no classical lectures. It's all very interactive, and it's a co-production of knowledge kind of focus. And it's portfolio assessed. So they have many different types of assessments that they have to go through along this course. So next, please. And then at the very end of the course, we have this multi-course poster session that's extremely popular. We have 4 different courses at Bio that we combine, and we have this poster session that we have pizza ordered in, and we have speed talks. The students get to present each poster and each theme that they have been working on, and the students really love this part of the course. It's a great way to end it, and we hope that this can be scaled up, maybe also brought onto the SDG conference here at UIB. Thank you.
So I managed to lure this. Yes. Okay. Let me see. Yes, my name is Katja Enberg. I'm also an associate professor at Department of Biological Sciences, and almost everything that Inger was talking about also applies to my course, UN Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Below Water. So, because Inger already talked a lot about how we actually do this course, I thought that I spend a bit time on the learning outcomes I have for the course. They are also very similar what Inger has, right? We have pretty same, so you can kind of apply to yours as well. But one of the things, because we have all these students from all different faculties, we have people from Old Norse philology, so people don't necessarily know how the ocean works. So that's one of the first things we want to give the students, an understanding about the biological and physical processes that make all these SDG 14 challenges global. Secondly, we want to show them that there is a history. SDGs didn't just sort of appear suddenly in 2015. There's a lot of history behind it, and we work on that. Another thing is, was also, I think, in the vision of the Bergen School of Global Studies, there was this actionable knowledge. And it's kind of like the third one I'm talking about here as well. You have to know the national, international, and intergovernmental organization where the decisions are actually made in order to use your knowledge. So that's something we also spend time on. We use quite a bit of time during the course in working on the interconnectedness of the different SDGs. As someone, I think it was Ragnhild was mentioning that there are trade-offs. Sometimes it's more difficult to reach this goal if this is reached. Sometimes it's easier. They work hand in hand. I also work, or the students work, with different kind of literature. So we have the scientific paper, we have the report, then we actually also have the blog post, and we have the homepage of different kind of organizations. So we work with this different kind of material. How do they connect to each other? Do they connect to each other? And try to give the students tools of critical thinking, critically reading and understanding what kind of material they are at each time working with. We also work with stakeholders, making students aware that if you want to if you want to do research and work on things that are relevant for society, you have to also engage other people than just other scientists. And finally, throughout the course, there is a focus on societally relevant questions. So students get to choose quite a lot. They get to choose which NGO, for example, they will study, and that will engage them more in their learning as well. And Inger already mentioned the poster symposium we have. Of course, this year we had to go online, no pizza. And this is how it looked like. We were all sitting on our PCs, but it actually turned out really well as well. So we had about 100 people participating, and I think the students really liked that there still was this happening, and it was streamed on YouTube and all that. And also all the things that they do, like, not all the things, sorry, the final poster and the 3-page paper associated with it, we put it online. So everything is out there, the product is out there. I'm kind of dreaming that they will show their mom or grandmom, look mom, I made this poster, or someone else. Okay, shifting gears, I also was asked to talk a bit about Sustainability Education Collective. We're kind of still working on the English name, but this is what I'll call it now. Bærekraftskollegiet, already mentioned. Maybe some of you have read at the UIB homepages, there's been an article about this. And there are quite a few people here who actually are members. Can everyone just raise their hands who are already been part of this Bærekraftskollegiet? Yes. So this started in 2018 when I studied at UIB. I wrote together with Yael Harlap from Pedagogy an application to DIKU about active learning and in the context of sustainability education. And part of that was also a collegium for the students, for the teachers. We didn't get money, of course. But then in this Utdanning 2030, there was a report this group made about SDG education at UIB, and there was a suggestion that we should put this Bærekraftskollegiet together. So then, together with Yael and Kerim and Inger, we wrote a letter saying that we want to do this. And Annelien and Oddrun said, okay, go ahead. So then we decided that we will start meeting in Læringslaben. So we met for the first time in June this year. And since then, we've been, well, after summer, we've been meeting once a month. So what is Bærekraftskollegiet? Basically, it's a forum open for all teachers who teach courses on sustainability education and SDGs. We currently have representatives from all UIB faculties, or probably I should say members, because there's no representatives, everyone is there as a member. And what we want to do is to exchange experiences, knowledge, and ideas for improved teaching and learning. So that's kind of the focus. We want to work on making our teaching better, also improving, well, developing new courses, and making more connections between the existing courses. The first year we decided quite soon that we wanted to remain quite small during the first year and try to work on how we actually, what do we want to be, and decide of sort of a code of conduct for the collegium. So what we've done this year, in August, we discussed the suggested program for master's program for sustainability. Then we were still at the Læringslaben, then we moved online, and then we had a session about students as partners. So we invited students to join us and help us with this topic. And this we will also continue later this year. We get a lecturer from abroad to join us, and then we will force all our members to make some promises of how they are going to involve students as partners in their courses. We also discussed in October, we discussed this course that UAB will have as part of the One Ocean expedition on Statsråd Lemkull. And the project group got a lot of useful feedback from all these teachers. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. So thanks, and this has been extremely inspiring. I think probably you all, like I have now, have made a lot of mental notes of things I need to do in my teaching, but also, of course, a lot of useful feedback for the Bergen School of Global Studies. I will now give the, I don't know what to call it, I mean the floor for sure, but also to direct the rest of the session of our time together today to my co-director, Lise Rakner, who will, from this sort of, now it's like this is what we have, and then the question is, where do we go from here? And Lise Rakner will chair the debate on this. Yes, I think you can, because I just waited for...
Okay, so while you are doing your very important job, I'm here. I'm okay if somebody turns me on. So while you doing what you have to do, I'm going to call the last show of the day to come up here. We are now having a final debate. I think you all know who's part of it. I see Margaret, I see Ottar, I see Astrid, I see Oddrun, Jakob, and Katja. So then that's it, I think. If I now have forgotten anyone, it's because I'm old, but I don't think so. So, first of all, I think you will join me in finding this hour and a half so far as extremely stimulating. I have to say, sometimes, right now, I really wish I was 20. I wish I could come to Bergen and start over. And I mean, to meet this kind of, this environment, to meet this solution to all the big questions that I had as a student, this is like one of the few times where I'm actually kind of sad that I'm not 20 again. Today is the 3rd of November. I think today we're all reminded of the importance of, how interlinked we are, and the importance of global governance. There is a reason why a lot of us haven't slept really well, and we're quite nervous about what's going on. A very smart 6-year-old many years ago said to me, you know what, it's actually very, very unfair that we don't get to elect the American president, because he affects all of us. That's not fair. That's kind of a picture of the world. We need each other. It's not there is no point in us holding up, closing our eyes and closing our windows and hoping whatever global pandemic, global climate change is going to roll over, because it isn't. It is about, we are part of a global world, we're part of the global problem, and we have to be part of the global solution. And that is what our teaching as a university has to be all about. And I think that's why I'm so incredibly grateful that we now finally have a School of Global Studies where exactly this core knowledge that we are part of a global world and the global solution will form a base of our education. That being said, it's not easy, because if it was easy, we would have done it when I was a student or 40 years before that. So there are challenges to this. And those challenges we have to kind of face head on, because otherwise we will just meet again, big fanfares and beautiful things. And as Håvard said, there will be nothing in between. So I think this is an opportunity here now to actually talk about those challenges and about how to meet them. So as a result, we have a beautiful panel. Now I sound like Donald Trump. You're beautiful, right? Oh my gosh. And fantastic and great. But we have a panel of deep thinkers and decision makers. And, you know, in a sense, Jakob, you are the future. That's a student. But the point is, you have experience as teachers and leaders and students. And so I've asked you, from your perspectives, to all think about the challenges and how we can meet them. And I've asked you to sort of do that from your own standpoint and perspective. And so then, you know, obviously you know the panels. I'll just quickly go through the names, and we will do the presentation one by one. So Oddrun Samdal, Prorector of Education at the university, will start. Margaret Hagen will be number 2, Prorector at the university. Otto Mestad, Director at the Christian Michelsen Institute. That is a very important research entity, but not a teaching entity. So that's another important dimension here. And then Jakob Grandin, who we already saw from the collaboratory, who talk about, who's sort of an employee, student, and so you will have all perspectives, right? And then Katja Enberg, we've already seen you, but we'll hear you present the challenges and solutions from your perspective. And finally then, Astrid Blystad from the Center of International Health will talk about your teaching experience and the challenges. So, 3 minutes each. Go. Oddrun, floor is yours.
Okay, do you want me to sit here?
I think
so.
Yeah. Siri, this thing, you had this thing about a clock. Is it true that something plinks? Oh, right, there it is. So now you know, you don't have to worry about me keeping your time and stuff. And I think you should all sit, but from health, you know, this sort of, whatever we're going through at this point.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, congratulations on the establishment and opening of Bergen School of Global Studies. And I'd like to start out on a personal note, because academically, I was born and raised in a global environment at the Research Center for Health Promotion today, Department of Health Promotion and Development, where we did have an international program of health promotion, which was partly presented by our today's GLODA that Haldis Haukanes presented. And my first teaching experience was within that international master's program, which made me learn and reflect around the importance of global meeting places when we got international students to our environment, and what we learned and developed to take forward in research as well as in teaching. So you asked me for success factors, and I think to me those are think big and structure your ideas and initiatives. And I think that is what you've been doing here. All the several faculties on board. And my second one is integrate research and education. Again, I think when students meet research in their daily environment, in their daily teaching, they are inspired and they feed back to you as a teacher, and that you also take back to your research development. And that was truly my experience with the international master programs of health promotion, that the integration of research and teaching was bouncing back and forth within the teaching session. You also asked to identify some challenges, and I think the cross-faculty approach, although we strongly encourage it and want it to survive and succeed, it is demanding. And I think, again, to put structures around collaboration is vital. And somehow the money flow of our university does not invite collaboration, because there is a competition. You want the money to come to your department, to your faculty. And I think there we need to become more clever, and we are in the process now of doing it, because we do need clear agreements between the faculties and how the money flow should go, so that whatever you put in is also economically rewarded, although you would get a lot of other benefit out of it, which is why you're motivated to do it. And sometimes I also think with the global studies, where you have all these different components of topics, and students can travel and go between the faculties. Maybe we also need a memorandum of understanding where we agree that, okay, we send some students to you, and you commit to sending some students to us. But I think that the vital thing is all you people in this room and the way you actually stimulate students to travel between faculties. And I think we should get a place and a structure around that. So thank you.
Thank you. Margaret? Thank you. And first of all, I would like to say that thank you so much for the presentation. And I've learned so much today, and it was so inspiring, so rich. And thank you also for your good work with this program. I am pro-rector, and my responsibility is research, so I will. So that will be my point of departure for what I'm going to talk about here now. First of all, I would like to just stress the same as Aldrin stressed, that research and education has to be tightly connected. So I'm so glad for this focus also on the research hubs, the research groups, etc. And secondly, interdisciplinarity is of course also important, that we should facilitate interdisciplinarity. We all know the challenges, but we should also facilitate that. And I think that collaboration within education facilitates interdisciplinarity in research. And also this open door politics that you have put forward here, I think it's great, and it is necessary. And thirdly, global knowledge. We need to be challenged. Also, of course, in light of this difficult and strange global situation where we find ourselves now. And fourthly, we need to continue our work to strengthen the situation of our international students after the quota program was terminated. So, and I would like to say some words about the quota program, because you all know this difficult situation that we as the rectorate, we have also worked politically to point out that the program actually worked to its intention, and that the students actually returned also to the countries and continued to build knowledge societies there. And we have pointed out that it's important not only for the international students, but for the universities of Norway and the University of Bergen to have international students present here in our campus, and for also to stay for years among us, because that's so enriching, both for the knowledge development and for our research. And then when it comes to interdisciplinarity, that is a challenge, and I think that it is important, of course, that deanships and the rectorate should take that responsibility seriously, facilitating interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity, and reduce disincentives, and this should, I noticed that was your second step, this should not only be the responsibility of Bergen School of Global Studies. And yes, just so to sum up the points, I made some points here. First of all, global research and international cooperation is essential importance of our time, not only for knowledge sharing, but also to challenge our own point of view, our own knowledge. Secondly, we need to support inter and transdisciplinarity. And transdisciplinarity, interdisciplinary needs leadership support, and also to reduce disincentives. And also, we need to see how we can work politically in Norway, also towards the Ministry of Education, to strengthen the presence of international students in Norway. And fourth, I think that we really should learn from this great initiative to
and use it as a model to work cross boundaries, cross faculties, and across different disciplines. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Now I have to tell you that the clock is no longer working. So what I'm going to do, just like when it's reaching 3 minutes, I go like I make it kind of a sign, because it's not your fault. The clock, it's back on. Okay, Otto, your turn. Otto Mestad, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. First of all, congratulations, University of Bergen, about this day. I am very, very excited about this. I think, and I really hope that in 10 years' time, we will look back at this day at a very important milestone for our efforts. I want to say 3 things about why this is important, not only for the university, but for Bergen, for the research institutions also outside the university. The first is that as a director of an international development institute, recruitment is essential. And it's essential to have a local recruitment base. We are recruiting a lot internationally now, but to have a local recruitment base is so important. And University of Bergen is crucial for that you bring the students to Bergen, that you have the right teaching programs here, so we can build that local recruitment base. And now, this is very important for that. The School of Global Studies is now an umbrella. It gives a fantastic opportunity to market Bergen that we didn't have before. So first recommendation is put energy and efforts and resources into the marketing. Second thing is that this now gives a platform for discussing and looking holistically at what we offer in this city. And the second recommendation is to put resources into thinking holistically, and what do we offer as a whole in Bergen now, and how attractive are we, not as single courses, a lot of attractive single courses, but the package as such. How will that develop? Second thing that is important for an institution like us is that students are important as part of our research environment. And for CMI, we bring students into the institute. They write their thesis at CMI. They are interns, etc. The Bergen School of Global Studies gives us a platform to reach out to new departments, to new faculties that we have not had that contact with earlier. So we hope that will be an important synergy out of this. Final thing is that students are our future networks. And we, of course, live in a time now where we cannot travel much. All of us who study global issues are severely affected by that. And it will be more and more important that we build those networks with people who we can collaborate with in the future, in the global south and elsewhere in the world. So having students for some years in Bergen and building those networks is extremely important. Can I say one final thing? Yeah, I have 22 seconds. The word leading research program, teaching program on the global studies, ranked as number 1 for the 4th year now, is global development studies in Brighton, University of Essex. And it's a very interesting thing about that one. It's a collaboration between a university and an independent research institute, IDS. And I'm very curious about that constellation. We have the same constellation in Bergen with CMI and University of Bergen. Is there something here in that collaboration that we can explore and utilize even better? Maybe we could travel to Brighton and see what they have done there and utilize that also in Bergen.
We'll travel to Brighton in a while, not just now. But thank you so much. Super inspiring thoughts. Jakob, your turn.
Great. It's really great to be here. Congratulations for this fantastic initiative. I think this is something that can be actually serve a very important role in a world that's becoming more and more turbulent. But I also think that what I really liked was what you said about trailblazing, that I think that meeting global challenges can also be a driver of innovation in higher education. I think this is an opportunity for us to mobilize all these great people that we have around us to create the university we would like to see. But at the same time, I think that as we're moving forward, I think it's also an opportunity for us to take a step back and reflect. And I think part of that would mean that we have to admit that as a society and also as higher education institutions, we've also failed so far to a large extent. We're nowhere close to meeting the tough global challenges that are defining our times. And time is really running out. So moving from that, I think when we chart a new way forward here, I think that there might be 3 obstacles, so to speak, on the way. And I think one thing is about content. It's about how we approach sustainability. I think often we deal with sustainability in an anything goes manner. I work on cities. There's a sustainable development goal on cities. Therefore, everything I do is sustainable. A second thing that I think is very important and a challenge is that we often work with these initiatives and we implement them as a parallel track to the rest of what we do at the university. What I really like this School of Global Studies to do is also to say how can we actually use this platform to disrupt and change and shape the rest of the educational activities at the university in different ways. And I think my third obstacle here is that I think we often focus on content, sometimes at the expense of process. When we talk about interdisciplinarity and learning, these are processes. And these need structure and they need facilitation. So these are things that we can develop here, tools to do that. And I think this is especially important at this time, because I think we're in a time now when actually our textbooks are becoming obsolete with regards to global issues. Actually, even the language, the words we use are no longer able to capture all these challenges. So I think we need to invent a new language, so to speak, to deal with global issues. And here I think it's key to involve students. Not as representatives, maybe not even as partners, but as colleagues. I think we need to invite students to shape the content of our activities, shape the form of our activities. I think we need to give our students the tools to shape their own learning process and facilitate interdisciplinarity. And I would also really like to see students as part of co-creators of this platform, of this School of Global Studies. So I think there's great potential here, but to realize this potential, I think we also, as a community here, will need to do some unlearning and relearning to move forward.
Thank you, Jakob. Unlearning is a very good starting point. Katja, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. I think this is a great umbrella. When I started 2018 at the university, I was, of course, you know, we all have 50% of our time we can use for teaching, and I thought, well, what would I like to teach? And I wanted to work with sustainable development goals, and 14 is sort of, that's what I do. But then I was kind of trying, well, what are other people doing? Like, is this course already? Does this exist? Is someone already doing this? Who is doing what? And that was sort of, it's not very easy. So I think this will serve a lot also us who do this teaching to kind of try to get an overview. And that's part of what we in the Bærekraftskollegiet or Sustainability Education Collective, that's also part of my sort of motive to push that forward. Try to get this overview, try to get us together, talk to each other, learn from each other, and also collaborate. Because the collaboration part, Jakob has already talked a lot about collaboration with as an aspect of learning, and that's both in us as teachers collaborating, not just that, okay, I'll come and give a lecture on your course and you come on mine, and then we're sort of collaborating, but rather actually making active plans. Okay, you send your students half of yours to my course, and I said half of mine to yours, and then we could see what happens. Probably something very exciting. So kind of putting these real collaborations between learning the students that are trying to learn. One other thing that I think is a sort of a problem is that when we're talking about sustainability problems, which are wicked problems, we don't have the answers. And there the teacher actually, you can't be a guru, because no one knows. So that's sort of, again, this unlearning that you actually have to be sort of sitting there, well, I don't really know. And that's not the traditional teacher role of not knowing. And that's something we kind of have to be together, that yes, it's okay that we don't always have all the answers, because the answer doesn't actually exist. There are possibilities. If we do this happens. If we do that happens. And then this whole spectrum in between. So that's also something I think is important. And I hope this kind of the school can help in bringing us together in discussing these questions. And finally, I think what we are doing in the Bærekraftskollegiet, I think this can be a very important partner for the Bergen School of Global Studies with our focus on teaching and learning and what faculty is doing. So I hope we will get a fruitful collaboration going.
I'm sure we will. Thank you so much. Astrid, you get the last word.
Congratulations. This is inspiring, and we've been waiting for it for a long time. So I think this is really a great day. Okay, so you asked us to start from our own starting points or vantage points, and I've been teaching since 1997 at both the Center for International Health, the Department of Global Public Health and Primary Care, masters and PhD students, medical track students, etc. And to be very concrete, I mean, what we struggle with still today, although we've talked about this for ages, I think, is the very concrete obstacles of somehow getting these overviews of courses that are available. Because, I mean, we work interdisciplinarily, we have agendas that are truly, intersectional in every way, but we struggle with all these practical kinds of issues. I just also need to somehow remind us that we struggle to find relevant courses, to the concrete content of courses, when can you apply for the courses, how do you get access, and very often we don't get access. I mean, these kinds of basic things, and I think that is somehow, in a sense, what I dream of this school to be able to somehow attack immediately, because I think that is somehow at the basis of very much of what we struggle with as teachers at the university. So somehow starting there, I think, is vital. And this is of course partly related to the fact that we don't have these websites yet, but also somehow the centrality of somehow establishing incentive structures for really encouraging this kind of movement and these kinds of overviews. And I mean, there are all kinds of obstacles in terms of structures that somehow really makes the movement very difficult, far beyond these practicalities of not seeing a website. It is not a system that really encouraging movement across the faculties. Okay, and I've been part of a number of cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary in as an aim research projects, and when we really have managed to be truly interdisciplinary, we see that is when the disciplines are fairly closely related together. That's where, for example, social scientists together with historians are collaborating. But the moment we moved into projects where we are epidemiologists, anthropologists, health economists, I see that then there is more of a multidisciplinary kind of work that we're doing. And then there are big discussions about this, and I think that discussions about the ideal of interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary, they're extremely ambitious and maybe not only always desirable. I think that sometimes what we want is also multidisciplinarity. And I think discussions around that is very important, because I think we aim up feeling very somehow that we're not aiming to do what we're supposed to do, but actually we see that when we have true and high quality multidisciplinary kinds of programs, that's often what works. That does not mean that we don't need fundamental debates about the existing disciplinary lines and borders. I think that's vital, and I think I bring that up to the top university level. And finally, I think that there is a need also to think about these strategic areas. I do believe that it is. Okay, so 10 seconds. I believe that it's very important that these strategic areas are somehow rooted more deeply at the very top level, because they are retained too strongly at the faculty level, and I think that works against the vision of movement across and the demand for movement across the faculties. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. We are actually running out of time. There is, I don't see, you should tell me if I can go a little bit over, but I'm going to change the format. We don't actually have time for a lot of questions from the audience. If one of you have a burning question, that's okay, the microphone is there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that microphone to Siri Gloppen. And you are going to have these very important, influential people sitting here, and you are going to tell them your Christmas wish. What is it that you and we need to make this work? You have the decision. This is like you can give your Christmas list now. It's only a month away. And then you please take note.
So I first want to just say thank you, because I think that you all sort of have said a lot of things that are on my Christmas list. And in a way, all of you are my Christmas list, in the sense that I think one of the things that we want is a kitchen cabinet that can help us take some of these ideas forward, that consists of students, people with a lot of ideas and different initiatives, and that can help us see how we can make the Bergen School of Global Studies helpful to everyone's ambition, and where it can be a vehicle for taking the ambitions for teaching, for sort of different types of learning, for collaboration forward, but also to think really, really, really hard on what we can do to build down the disincentives. Because I think building down barriers and disincentives are even more important than creating incentives. But we're better at the latter. We give a little bit of money to do the interdisciplinary things, to create courses and so on. I think it's important, but it's a lot more important to look at the money flows, look at what is it. Often it's not even a lot of money. It's just creating barriers. I think we have an enormous belief in the ability of small money to do a lot of good, which I don't think it does, but it does a lot of harm. And I think that we do a lot of incentives. We have a lot of small incentives that just creates problems and creates tension and conflicts. And I think that even if we just took away everything and sort of just saying, just allowing people to do what they want to do, I think we would get further. So that's my biggest Christmas wish, okay?
A kitchen table, and to do away with a kind of a disciplinary incentive structure. Yeah. 2 Christmas wishes from the director of the new Bergen School of Global Studies, and from me. I will second all of that. And I just really want to thank you. This has been an incredibly inspiring 2 hours. I've heard from fantastic teachers. I've heard incredibly inspiring things from my bosses and leaders, and I've seen student initiatives that I mean, there is just no way that we cannot be going forward from this. And this, I hope you all walk out of this room with the same feeling of inspiration. And you know what? This may actually be a day that has turned something around, and we will look back at this and think, wow, we started 3rd of November 2020. Why didn't we start in 1970? But anyway, we're here now, and I just really want to thank you, thank Bente, thank all of you who's worked to create this, and wish you a nice day. And I know that most of you agree with me. Pray for a good result when we wake up tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.